So today we're going to be checking out Stranger Things Season 1, which initially came out of 2016, and a show that I'm mad at myself for not watching sooner, because it's a good show, but it's been on my list for a minute now. But I am glad I did watch it. I binged it in a couple of days. I binged the whole 4 seasons, but today we're just going to be focusing on Season 1. And I did hear that a Season 5 was coming out real soon, so hopefully we could get to a point where I could cover that one day. But I clearly see why the show has gained such a massive following over the years. It has everything from suspense, drama, horror, and the best kind of 80s nostalgia. And I was born in the early 2000s, so that say a lot. The show kicks off with the disappearance of a young boy named Will Byers in the fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana. This is the central mystery around which the whole season revolves around. But we quickly learned that there's more going on here than just a typical missing person case. But throughout the season, we are introduced to a whole bunch of characters, and I have to say that the casting is so spot on for this show. Like seriously, Dustin has to be my favorite character. Just take a look at that smile. But anyway, we had the rest of the friend group where Mike is played by Finn Wolfhard, Lucas is played by Caleb McLaughlin, and Dustin is played by Gator Matarazzo. These guys make up the rest of Will's friend group, and Will is played by Noah Schnapp. And then we have Eleven, played by Millie Bobby Brown, who plays a big part in the whole series, a really big part. But these kids' dynamic throughout the whole series feels so genuine, it almost make me want to have friends. But one thing the show does well is balance out multiple storylines at once. When you got Mike, Lucas, and Dustin who's teaming up with Eleven to try to find Will. But meanwhile, you have Will's mom, Joyce, played by Winona Ryder, also an excellent actress. She's going through extreme lengths to trying to find Will and communicate with him through Christmas lights and exploding telephones. And another character that I enjoy is Hopper, played by David Harbour, or Hellboy. And he's also playing in the upcoming movie Thunderbolts that I'm kinda excited to see. But later on, Hopper starts to feel a lot of shady things is going on at Hawkins' lab. The lab is where we learned that Eleven was part of some pretty messed up science experiments, including opening up a portal to the Upside Down. And through her flashbacks, we see her as a kid being forced to use her telekinetic powers. And it's through this portal where the monster known as the Demogorgon comes from and snatches Will. So about right now, you could kinda see where everything kinda connects. But let's not forget about Steve Harrington, played by Joe Keery. His character starts off as a typical high school jock, meathead, that I personally think don't work for the character. But the show does do a great job of adding layers to him and giving him great character development. But throughout the whole series, I really think Steve deserves better. I mean, he does have some weird moments where he try to get inside Nancy's pants, but as the show goes on, you really see that he cares for Nancy. But at the beginning, they kind of make him a jerk to try to make you root for Jonathan and Nancy, which I did, I'm not gonna lie, but toward the end of the series, I felt different. He does break Jonathan's camera, but it was for a valid reason. But speaking of Nancy, another big part of season 1 is the duo between Nancy, played by Natalia Dyer, who's also the sister to Mike, and Jonathan Byers, played by Charlie Heaton, is also the brother to Will. But the two didn't end up dating in real life, so there's that. But Nancy comes into the story when the disappearance of her friend Barb happens. And Barb is played by Shannon Purser, and I believe this is her first role ever. But she did end up starring in another Netflix original, Sierra Burgess is a Loser. Barb's disappearance took place at Steve's pool party, and the last time we seen her was on Jonathan's camera. But I'm sure she'll be just fine. But with the disappearance of Barb and the disappearance of Will, Jonathan and Nancy grow closer, which leaves Steve to believe that Nancy is cheating on him with Jonathan, which I don't blame him because they're literally in her bed. But at one point, Jonathan and Nancy try to kill the Demogorgon, but it doesn't go as planned. But Steve is there to save the day with the best baseball skills I've seen in my life. But while them three work out their relationship issues, the relationship between Eleven and Mike develops pretty quickly over the course of the season, especially because Mike is one of the only people that was nice to her, and I like how the relationship feels so innocent and heartfelt. But one of the saddest moments have to be when the group think they found Will's body in a quarry.
It's not Will. It can't be.
But it later turns out the body was fake and planted by Hawkins' lab. The lab actually did this to draw away any suspicion from Will's disappearance. And I also forgot to mention, the person behind everything at the lab is Brenner, played by Matthew Modine, the person Eleven calls Papa, and also the person who had forced her to use her powers since she was younger. Now with the last part of the season, we have the kids fighting the goons from the laboratory. And they end up fighting the Demogorgon, but with Eleven being the only one with powers, she sacrifices herself to save everyone else. And as that's happening, Hopper and Joyce are in the Upside Down looking for Will, but they do end up finding Will, but he is in critical condition, but he is still having these weird dark visions from the Upside Down, and he ends up coughing up this gross slug-like creature, which is kind of gross, but it do leave you excited to watch the next season, which it was, and I binged the next season the next day, which I will be covering, so stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Otto. After the editing process, which was painfully long due to a lot of software issues, and I know I didn't have a lot of details, but I am planning to do longer videos than this normally so I can get into depth with the series or the movie. But it was my first video, so cut me a break. But I don't know if I'll be doing season 2 right away. I want to do more shows and movies before that. But all in all, I did enjoy the whole series, and I like how the show foreshadowed a lot of things. But the show did keep me hooked through all the seasons. But let me know what I need to improve on and I'll adjust to it. But thank you for stopping by.